about. My name is Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Esther Onwachuku. Like he said, it's quite a beautiful morning right here in the city of Lagos, and we're transmitting live to you on VOP Studios in Lagos. So, for example, let's try to talk about the scenario whereby at the moment the president is addressing the nation, and it is concerning the Naira redesign, the quagmire it has caused, and the almost unstable social apprehension it has created. Moses, as of yesterday, quite a lot of incidents took place across various parts of the country. You had Edo, that's Benin, Edo State, the capital Benin, where about 4 persons died because while they tried to go deposit the old notes at the CBN branch right there, and they weren't attended to, it created a fracas. And before you know, police had to arrive in order to quell the situation. They started renting, the air with gunshots, and about 4 persons died. In Delta State too, a similar occurrence took place. They burnt an ATM machine and also some campaign billboards in the state. Also, Ibadan Expressway yesterday was in a gridlock. Passengers couldn't go about their activities. They couldn't move. Vehicular movement was stalled because the protest was ongoing concerning the cash crunch and the fact that Nigerians cannot have access to cash. Moses, it wasn't, would I say, an appetizing scenario in the country as of yesterday.
Yes, it's been pretty chaotic. There's been chaos everywhere, even in Ondo State as well. There were riots everywhere. Nigerians are angry, and coupled with the fact that people are not collecting the old notes, so it makes it even worse.
That's true.
Especially for the masses, those who need to use public transportation and all of that. It makes it really troubling. You can't buy little things because they will not collect the old notes, and the new notes are not in circulation. Even the old notes are not even in circulation.
True.
So it's really troubling. Well, excuse me. It's a good thing that the president is addressing the nation. We'll link up to that broadcast and let you listen to what the president has to say. And we do hope that his address will be able to quell whatever tension is going on right now.
For example, too, if you look at some of the scenarios that have been erupting in several parts of the country, there have been speculations that these are deliberately, imputed to create what you call social apathy, where people may not want to participate in the upcoming elections when they feel that there is a sort of stringency in having to allow them prepare properly for the elections. So possibly the social apprehension is deliberately being created by the elite. And if we look at what is currently ongoing at the moment, I must tell you that if something is not done as soon as possible, it would not be nice. We don't want to experience another.
We're not hoping. Yes. I was actually thinking about it this morning on my way to work. I was just thinking, if this isn't handled on time, there might be the possibility that we'll see a revisit to what happened during the NSAS riots, and that's not something anybody wants to witness right now. It's troubling.
It is.
Well, we also hear there are feelers that the federal government wants the 200 naira note to continue in circulation.
Okay.
Continue. You might not have access to the 1,000 naira or the 500 naira, but there is that possibility that the 200 naira notes will remain in circulation, old and new, side by side, up until when this whole thing is sorted out.
If you recall earlier in the week when we were talking again, to this whole cash crunch has been trending for almost a week. So we talked about the fact that the 100 naira, 50 naira notes, those ones already in existence should be properly put in circulation. So
now we have the broadcast talking about listening to the President Muhammadu Buhari, as he addresses the nation. Let's go to that one, and we'll be back on the show.
I am deeply pained and sincerely sympathize with you all over these unintended outcomes. To stem this tide, I have directed the CBN to deploy all legitimate resources and legal means to ensure that our citizens are adequately educated on the policy. Enjoy easy access to cash withdrawal through availability of appropriate amount of currency and the ability to make deposits. I have similarly directed the CBN should intensify collaboration with anti-corruption agencies so as to ensure that any institution or persons found to have impeded or sabotaged the implementation should be made to bear the full weight of the law. During the extended phase of the deadline for currency swap, I listened to invaluable pieces of advice from well-meaning citizens and institutions across the nation. I similarly consulted widely with representatives of the state governors as well as the Council of State. Above all, as an administration that respects the rule of law, I have also noted that the subject matter is before the courts of our land and some pronouncements have been made. To further ease the supply pressures, particularly to our citizens, I have given approval to the CBN that the old 200 naira banknotes be released back into circulation, and that it should also be allowed to circulate as legal tender with the new 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira banknotes for 60 days from February 10th, 2023 to April 10th, 2023, when the old 200 naira notes ceases to be legal tender. In line with Section 20, subsection 3 of the CBN Act 2007, all existing old 1,000 naira and 500 naira notes remain redeemable at CBN and designated points. Considering the health of our economy and the legacy we must bequeath to the next administration and future generations of Nigerians, I admonish every citizen to strive harder to make their deposits by taking advantage of the platforms and windows being provided by the CBN. Let me assure Nigerians that our administration will continue to assess the implementation with a view to ensuring that Nigerians are not unnecessarily burdened. In this regard, the CBN shall ensure that new notes become more available and accessible to our citizens through the banks. I wish to once more appeal for your understanding till we overcome this difficult transient phase within the shortest possible time. Fellow citizens, on the 25th of February 2023, the nation will be electing a new president and National Assembly members. I am aware that this new monetary policy has also contributed immensely to the minimization of the influence of money in politics. This is a positive departure from the past and represents a bold legacy step by this administration towards laying a strong foundation for free and fair elections. I urge every citizen, therefore, to go out to vote for their candidates of choice without fear, because security shall be provided and your vote shall count. I, however, admonish you to eschew violence and avoid actions capable of disrupting the electoral processes. I wish us all a successful general elections. Thank you for listening. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, there you have it. That's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, at least this has taken the pressure off the CBN governor. At least people now know that the president and the governor of the CBN are in sync.
Are in sync. That's
You
true.
know, so away from all the accusations that
Speculations as well.
he's disobeying
Yes,
this order,
yes.
or he's disobeying that order. The bottom line is he's acting under instructions.
You know, I actually wondered, I was like, how comes the CBN still stood their ground, giving banks directive, despite what the Supreme Court said? And it was like, the Supreme Court had nothing to do, it was not their concern with whatever motion the Supreme Court gave. And they continued. And what Nigerians were wondering, does it mean that the CBN now is a government on its own, aside from the executive? So today actually presents itself that, for real, the president is in sync, in accordance with what the CBN was actually putting out there, and insisting on the fact that February 10, the old note will cease to be a legal tender. However, this national address, I think, is just meant to create a sense of, would I say, calm, like you said, ease off the pressure, so there will be no destabilization or breakdown of law and order, because that's already what this whole scenario was culminating to. So hopefully, I think that this will give a sense of reassurance and, calm the nerves of a lot of us, so that we can trust what the president just rolled out this morning and continue our activities as smoothly as possible.
Well, the bottom line is the president has said that out of the 3 notes that were redesigned, that's the 1,000 naira notes, the 500 naira notes, and the 200 naira notes. The 200 naira notes will continue in circulation.
That's
the old 200 naira notes, and the new ones will continue side by side. Yeah, but the ones that will be phased out are the old 1,000 naira and 500 naira. Those ones will be phased out. So the 200 naira will continue, and that might just I don't know, maybe ease the plight of the people.
I think for now the best thing they can do is to flood the banks and the ATMs.
Now, instructions have been given. Instructions have been given that these monies should be made available to the people. It is one thing for those instructions to be given. It's another thing for us to actually see, and for us to be able to make withdrawals.
And for those who actually the instructions are addressed to do the needful.
Well, the question on my mind is the president above the Supreme Court? I don't think so.
You remember this case, we were talking about it 2 days ago. We invited a lawyer right here who had to explain to us exactly if the Supreme Court or the justice system is autonomous. We've been that conversation has been on about the autonomy of the judicial system, whereby the executive,
because
the
according
president, shouldn't influence the decision of the judicial system. But apparently, the way it seems, it feels like the executive's decision could superimpose whatever it is the judicial system has in place.
As it is, that's what it looks like right now. Because according to the Supreme Court, there should be an extension. There are still talks. All right, the governors that are fighting against against the policy are still in talks with. Everything is still adjourned. Exactly.
Funny enough, another drama actually evolved. Some states during the suit with the federal government, considering the fact that these monies should be phased out, and the new notes should be implemented as soon as possible, not running concurrently. And then some other states as well, during the other governors who filed the suit in the first place, to say that no, it should run concurrently, so that we wouldn't have a state of discontent with what we're currently experiencing. The drama was actually quite, would I say, it was, I don't want to call it funny, but you needed to see how it happened yesterday. They were just flooding the court with their own suits, and I think that was when we now began to see pockets of scenarios occurring across the nation.
Well, the bottom line now is the president has spoken as he's always been described, the father of the nation. I particularly don't like that description of a president. He was elected into office, but so calling him the father of the nation doesn't sit well with me. But that's my view. That's my view. Well, he has spoken. It's left for us to see how the courts, I beg your pardon, how the banks carry out these instructions. And I believe that from now going forward, Nigerians should be able to see these monies in circulation. That's what I believe.
Moses, there's something I actually want us to also consider or look into here. For example, this system, in as much as it was short-termed, that is the awareness, the organization, the preparedness of the entire process for the new Naira note and circulation, there could have been a system to ensure that in this short term that this Naira redesign came on, that the monies would be properly circulated. If not, the 200, 500,
well, we
and
know how it
1,000
was.
Naira.
We know how
as
it
soon
was.
As possible.
We know how it was.
In this part of the world.
The way this policy was, it was too quick.
It was too rushed.
It was, yes, it was too quick. Normally, when you're phasing out a currency, introducing another one, you give yourself time.
True.
It goes between 6 months to 1 year.
1 year.
But as it was too quick. It was obvious there was something intended to be achieved by it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was just not done properly.
In England,
the intention might have been good, but it wasn't done properly. But now we're having to face the repercussion of not doing it properly. But anyway, we'll continue having this discussion.
Yes.
We will continue because it's still in the
I was
polity.
about to make a reference. In England, for example, they are about to introduce, phase out the old notes where you have the late Queen's picture on the notes to, put in the king right now. And they have done what you call a picture, like a frame of how it's going to be like. They started intimating to people, creating that awareness of how the denomination would be. And
they had someone design it and all of that.
They designed it. They've already put the picture out there in the press for people to begin to get prepared. And they've been given orientation, announcing, and it's going to be...
So there is sensitization.
Exactly. The sensitization is already on, and then the money will
and over here, we didn't have enough sensitization.
That's another thing they did not do here, in as much, like you said, that there was a motive behind the whole decision, which was to...
I didn't say there was a motive. I said there was probably something to be achieved.
Okay. All right, fine. Moses and cautious.
We do have weather to check out, and we also be looking at traffic. I know that maybe some people sat back somewhere to listen to the president and would get on the roads now, so we'll let you know what the traffic is like. We also will be visiting the Hood Report. Now, we always crave your involvement in this. We'd like for you to be part of it right here on Voice of the People, VOP Television. We do this with you, all right? We'd like for you to be part of the conversations that we're having. So send us videos, call us up via WhatsApp call, send us videos, let us know what's going on in your neighborhood. We have a segment specially for your neighborhood, for you, and that is Hood Report. So be part of the conversation. Now, when we talk about newspaper headlines, which we'll be going to very shortly, you can also reach out to us, analyzing the stories that tickle your fancy. So we'll like for you to, be part of the conversation that way. All right. So we're going to weather now. Let's look at what the weather is saying this morning. When we come back, we'll get on with headlines, newspaper headlines. Stay with us. This is VOP Live. VOP This Morning.
And yes, this is still VOP This Morning right here, and we're streaming to you live in the city of Lagos. Quite an interesting morning it is. We just finished listening to the president's live broadcast addressing the nation. Right now it's time for us to go to the front page of selected national dailies, and the first up we're starting with This Day, and the major headline there is Buhari considers recirculating old 200 Naira notes to ease pains of Naira scarcity. He just addressed that right about now. And of course, let me take the riders to address Nigerians in nationwide broadcasts by 7 a.m. today. He has already done that. El-Rufai confirms option discussed with top government officials in out-of-court settlement move. And of course, you have Bayelsa Edo break ranks with governors aligned with the federal government in suit against banning old notes. Case adjourned till February 22. Ex-parte order subsists. Again, Buhari Emefiele meet at the State House. And angry customers attack CBN office, banks, ATMs in Edo. Quite a dramatic day it was yesterday. Above that particular major headline, Edo government accuses Oshomole of masterminding protest. Riots, calls for his arrest. Look elsewhere for blame, not me, ex-governor fires back. And above that particular headline, stick to February 10 deadline, Shehu Sani tells federal government. And above the masthead, higher food commodity prices push inflation to 21.82%. Severe in Lagos, Bauchi, Ondo, others. These are the major headlines that we have on this day this morning.
All right, so let's go on to the Nation newspaper now. A bold headline here: out of court settlement, talks on Naira crisis collapse. On top of that one, underneath the name tag of the paper, Supreme Court, old Naira notes remain legal tender. 9 states join suit. Case adjourned till Wednesday. All right, so while we're still talking about this, the president has addressed the nation, and we have heard what he had to say. On top of the name tag of the paper, 4 killed in Naira scarcity violence. Protest in FCT, 7 states. Tinubu urges calm over crisis. You can see stories on pages 2, 4, 5, and 25 of that paper. Punish PDP for reneging on power shift, says APC chair. And also we have this one: Wike, Tinubu turned down PDP's offer to sabotage Buhari in 2019 election. All right, and that one has a rider. APC candidate is the man Nigeria needs now, says Rivers governor. Interesting one day. Interesting. Underneath that one, inflation rises to 21.82%, says NBS. APC PCC kicks as police invite Fani Kayode. All right, so these are headlines from the Nation newspaper. Let's go on to another daily.
All right, so on the Punch this morning, major headline there: new Naira crisis, violence spreads in states, 3 killed, banks burned. And that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper, that major headline there. The writer says, violent protest rocks Delta, Edo, Ondo, Oyo, Kwara, Benue states. A Supreme Court maintains anti-deadline order, 7 states join legal battle. Sanwo-Olu, more governors threaten sanctions over old notes rejection. Like we earlier told you, these are the headlines trending across most of the selected national dailies this morning. And beside the masthead, Amechi absent at Tinubu Rivers rally. That story is on page 20 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And above the masthead, Naira: why APC governors rejected federal government settlement terms, says El-Rufai. That story is on page 8. And beside the particular subheadline, you have private sector blames fuel scarcity as inflation hits 21.8%. That story too is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Wike, 4 others are not relevant outside PDP, and that is by the PCC spokesman, and that story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Bottom page below the major headline: marketers ignore federal government, sell petrol for over 230 naira per litre. Wow. Now, also Evans ordered to pay kidnap ransom, and that is also another story that we may look into considerably while we move on VOP this morning. And soldiers avenging colleagues' death by killer cop burn station. That story is on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Quite a sad scenario on that one.
Yes, it was. It was a sad one, especially if you visit Ogijo area of Ikorodu. Ogijo is actually in Ogun State, right? It's like a border between
Lagos
and Ikorodu and Ogun State. There's always that story was heartbreaking when I heard about it.
I mean, as security agencies that ought to be in synergy shouldn't have this.
And if you've ever been to that area when there is chaos, you will know that they take it out. Whoever starts it takes it out on the people. It goes beyond the bodies involved. It affects transportation. It affects people going to their different destinations. It's just troubling. Well, let's go on to the Guardian newspaper now. A very bold headline here: Hope deferred as Supreme Court adjourns suit to February 22, and that one has some headlines. 9 more states join suit. Buhari meets Emefiele again after Apex Court adjournment. El Rufai debunks extension report, says no meeting took place this week between FG, governors, Akeredolu to Buhari, APC rating in free fall, reverse currency policy now. Sanwo-Olu vows to prosecute those rejecting old Naira notes. Forget about free, fair elections if old notes are allowed before February 25. Shehu Sani warns. Anglican Communion urges government to check ongoing exploitation of Nigerians. All right, these are headlines that you would find there. And then on top of that one, how presidential candidates pay influencers to peddle fake news on social media by CDD reports. That can be found in page 3. JAM shifts 2023 UTME registration to February 22. Protesting CSOs accuse Bauer of infiltration to save EFCC job. Presidency: North has 4-year deficit. Suffered more under Buhari, says Ango Abdullahi. All right, so some more headlines from the Guardian newspaper there. We have this one: cash scarcity, protests rock Benin, Warri, Ilori, and Uyo.
Yeah, sure.
All right, and also Afenifere, YCE, OPC, others blast IGP over allegation of arms stockpiling in Southwest. That can be found in the page 6 of the paper. All right, these are headlines on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper. There's a picture there.
Yeah.
There's a picture showing a building and a street. Underneath that one, we have a Federal Secretariat, Abuja, deserted yesterday as the cashless policy keeps workers at home. That's another thing, because workers really don't have the money to pay transportation.
Of course, even here in Lagos too. It's just that, like we say here in Lagos, we're hustlers. People must just go about their activities. And on the first newspaper, major headline there: Naira crisis, Nigeria balls. And the riders 4 killed in Edo as protests erupts nationwide. Protesters shot outside CBN office, nursing mother among victims. That's a sad one. Fresh protests rock Oyo, Edo, Ondo, Delta, bank burdens, automated telemachines raised. Angry customers paralyze activities at Abuja CBN office. Surges disperse protesters blocking Lagos-Ibadan expressway after 7 hours. Banks taxes shut down in Ogun. And above the major headline, old Naira notes still legal tender. Supreme Court says order suspending deadline implementation subsists. Adjourns hearing to February. Exactly.
Quite conflicting.
Adjourns hearing to February 22. 9 other states, however, joined suit. That's above the major headline on the first news paper. And now, of course, you also have Buhari to extend old Naira notes validity till April 10. States divided as Supreme Court adjourns suits on old Naira. Oshomole behind old Naira notes protest Edo government alleges. And on the bottom page and the front page of the first newspaper, Naira redesign, but also government asks CSOs to apologize over false allegation. And Tinubu visits Wike after rally in Rivers. Amechi absent. And beside the masthead, Naira's scarcity, anarchy looms. CBN policy will ruin Buhari's government, and Governor Otam warns. That is beside the masthead of the first newspaper this morning. That's all about the headlines right on there.
All right, so that's it for newspaper headlines. A few papers that we visited this morning. Newspaper headlines will make a return same time tomorrow. In the meantime, we'll take a little breather now. When we come back, we'll be talking about a very specific topic, but that will be after traffic, because we have traffic updates coming up shortly. After that, we'll be talking about our focus story
for the day.
Yes,
concerning the splinter leader from the IPOB, or like call him ESN, Simon Ekpa. Exactly. And of course, the Nigerian government this time around taking a bold step to approach the Finnish government as to what Simon Ekpa's ruckus has cost, to the nation, and the kind of large followership or massive followership he has, and how they have been adhering to most of his agitations via social media. A response has been given more on that while we, approach that particular aspect or segment right here in VOP this morning.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.
All right, again, welcome back. This is still VOP this morning. It's now time for us to reel out the traffic update to you so you properly navigate your way around this beautiful city of Lagos. All right, well, we're going to be keeping you updated. At Ijuri-Shaga, traffic is on the increase, approaching Faba bus stop from Agege, but there is a slow movement towards the intersection there, and the steady flow to Ishaga proper. All right, outward is looking good to Alamutu. Slightly busy from Jonathan Koka to Link Iju Road. However, there's a fast-moving traffic towards Agege end. So if you're along that axis, well, this is basically the scenario right on there. The vehicular movement is actually moving, but it is actually quite busy. At College Road axis, we have slow-moving traffic at Haruna Junction and Yahaya Abatan Junction owing to alternation. However, there is no impediment yet, and there are men on ground to make sure that vehicular movement is eased and you can move along that axis. So that is also an interesting scenario for us to actually look into. Moses, thank God that we are already at work. We don't want to be in this whole
No, you don't want to be in
situation.
traffic. Exactly. You don't want to be in traffic at this time. This is a rush hour.
True.
Nobody wants to be in traffic at this time.
True.
Well, vehicular movement from Ikoto roundabout intersection through the narrow path of Synagogue Ojuodo is good, even though it's slow right now. We hear that there is better movement from there through Ilewe, and then Selegbe Bridge to Yanujigbo bus stop. NNPC intersection is building up gradually, and so is Mobostic Junction, that they are both accommodating, and the Jakonde Estate Gate Junction is accessible towards Okeafa area. The return journey is good and fast, no record of breakdown. All right, we also have this update for you. My 12 traffic update: vehicular movement from Odogun down to Ajegunle, to Thomas, to Irawo, to Idera, to Weybridge, and all the way to Owode Oniri, to Owode Elede, down to my 12 is good to go.
All right, from Ojudubega, we have a very good vehicular movement within the length and breadth of Ojudubega, appreciable movement from Kara, that is Kara Bridge, to Otedola, likewise, and on the return trip from Otedola back to Kara there, the movement along that axis is good. You know how Kara Bridge used to be at this time of the morning? Thankfully, if you're approaching that axis, or that is basically where your destination would be, the vehicular movement around there is good. So you're good to go. And there is good movement on Opa Ogunusi Road from River Valley to Omole Junction, aside alternation. There is good movement there. I think I like this axis. You know, it's good this morning. So all of you, or most of you who will be applying that route, it's good to go. There's good movement from Omole inward, excellence. Yes, Ogba Odoron aside alternation, and impediment is actually negative. Officers doing the needful accordingly. So that route is a yippee.
It's interesting that you're excited that
Yes.
the route is particularly free.
Yes.
Oh well, movement from Under Bridge, mile 12 to J-Logo, all the way in and out is still looking good. Well, that's traffic update.
All right, so for Akwabi Island, the traffic situation there is good to go along Kudirat, Abiola Way, Billings Way, Ikosi Road, Akwabi Link Bridge inward at Debola Salvation, Sheraton Link Bridge as well, and Akwabi U-turn, Tony Roundabout. Allen Avenue is a little bit slow, is expected. From UBA towards Allen intersection is a little bit slow. So if you're approaching that route about now, just apply patience, okay? You get to your destination. You do know that that is one major commercial net center in the city of Lagos. All right, so Obafemi Awolowo Way and Romire Road all are very busy at the moment. No any form of impediment for now, just normal rush hour traffic situation there. Men on ground to ensure that there is no choking point. The movement just goes accordingly. So make sure you're patient while you are along that axis. And if you intend to get to that particular destination, make sure that you're patient to get there as well.
All right, that's it for traffic updates, or do we have some more?
Yeah, we do have some more traffic update. And this is from Bolade Oshodi inward Ladipo, Shogunle. It's also good. En route PWD is good towards airport turning. So that access is good this morning. Pressure already mounting at airport bus stop due to activities of the yellow buses. I don't think anybody wants to be in the side lane with the yellow buses because they just basically block the road because they want to pick up passengers. But if you are along that axis, apply patience. It's a Lagos mannerism. It's our normal routine.
So it's normal.
It's our normal routine here.
So it's normal.
It's our normal routine.
Yeah, what's not normal is not normal.
If you're driving, if you have your vehicle and you get to that kind of instance where these yellow and black buses are there, just be patient.
We're just unusually disorganized in Lagos. There's always that sense of urgency, even when it's not needed.
Exactly.
It's
Meanwhile,
I guess that's what makes Lagos. Yes, that's what makes it Lagos.
It's only peculiar to Lagos.
Very unfortunate.
Okay, so meanwhile, it's a good movement from National inward Ikeja along and Ajayi Farm. All right, so Ajayi Farm is good to go at the moment, while inward Ilezik, Mangoro and Cement is good to go. Return journey is also encouraging, and at the moment there is no record of any articulated vehicle or private vehicle breakdown. Impediment, no impediment cited for now. So if you're approaching that axis or if you're on that axis, you're very good to go at the moment. Now, traffic update on Oke-Odo. We're still experiencing free flow of traffic in most areas along that zone. However, it is gathering momentum at Charity and Oja-Oba intersections occasioned by alternation coupled with there's a rush there. The stretch of Abulegba, Ajekune corridor, both inward and outward, all those ones actually, will I say, you can consider them good to go.
All right, so that's traffic updates for today. We'll bring you more traffic updates in the course of the program, where we get some more information from our friends at the Federal Road Safety Corps. In the meantime, let's look at the focus for today. We're looking at something pertinent to security, pertinent to lives in the southeast, pertinent to the elections as well. The 2023 election, federal government summons Finnish ambassador over Simon Ekpa's threat to stop polls. All right, so that is where we are right now. Simon Ekpa has been, you can call him a breakaway faction, a leader of a breakaway faction, or a disciple of Nnamdi Kanu, but he runs a breakaway faction of the IPOB. And he's been, the most annoying part of it all is the fact that he's not even based in Nigeria.
That's true.
So he's based in Finland, and he uses WhatsApp, spreading messages,
WhatsApp broadcast messages.
Exactly. Doing videos, giving instructions, asking that people sit at home. Now he came up with the very latest one, which is that people should sit at home during elections. Now, how will they get to vote?
That's basically
if they sit at home.
For Simon Ekpa and his splinter group followers, they do not want to be in the same territory with the Nigerian government.
Now, there is also
they also want to completely break away and insisting that elections will not take place. And if you look at most of the polling units, the 240 polling units that INEC said elections or voting processes will not take place, they're mostly southeastern states where he considered to be troubled or security hotspots, and then most of them, Abia, Enugu, most of the polling units, and you're wondering, what about the northeast, where we've also had security hotspots, that's been hotbeds along there. We do not have so many polling units where votings or accreditations will not take place. That's a question that I think a lot of people would have to ask questions about, you understand. Now, Simon Ekpa is insisting that elections will not take place in most southeastern states, which has created confusion. And right about now, the southeast is not a serene environment or serene region.
The southeast is not a serene environment because people like Simon Ekpa have issued orders, and he has people on ground to follow up with his orders. And the bottom line still is that there are insinuations in some quarters that Simon is being funded by some politicians to ensure that there is breakdown of law and order in the southeast. Now, he gives an instruction that people should sit at home, and then he has people on ground to enforce it. Now, the other day, a purported sit-at-home enforcer was burnt alive. So that's part of, I think the people are beginning to rise up because IPOB came out to say there is no sit-at-home order.
Sure, the distance themselves.
IPOB is saying that go out and vote for whoever is your candidate for the elections.
Information had filtered out from where Nnamdi Kanu has been held in custody, where he said that he has not been in support, of the sit-at-home that has been currently going on in the southeast. If you recall, when several agitations came about, when these individuals were exacting mayhem on the people, stopping them from going about their businesses. If you recall that, he has actually distanced himself from the purported agitation and insinuations and broadcast messages from Simon Ekpa.
Well, we have a guest that will be coming on, and we'll probably get our guest on the phone. When we do that, when we get connected to the guest, we'll let you...
Okay. Currently, it's our in-house analyst, Abiodun Ojediji, who will be helping us to categorize and put in perspective the focal point of our conversation on VOP this morning. Moses, particularly, you can understand something though in this whole scenario when we try to paint a picture of the current quagmire in the country. On VOP this morning, that's what we tried to do. We would not want to really put in too much effort on the negativity, because trust me, Nigerians are stretched.
Negativity in what regard?
Negativity as regards to what the cash crunch has cost, the insecurity that the fallout of Simon Ekpa's broadcast messages to his followers will actually cause for Nigerians. And at the moment, there's rising inflation, like you read on the headlines, about 21.8%. That's a major fallout for us. So how do we try to bridge and contend the porosity this scenario is creating? So we should just try as much as possible. I don't know how we can just try to just encourage ourselves and look forward towards the elections, because I think that's a respite a couple of us actually have right now. Don't you think?
Well, we'll look forward to the elections and ensure that people cast their votes.
Yes, I'm going to cast my vote.
That would be good. That would be good. You should cast your vote.
Yes, I will cast
and
my
vote
vote.
for the candidate of your choice.
Exactly.
That would be good. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. All right, welcome back. It's VOP this morning, and we have our guest with us, our in-house analyst. He's been our go-to person. He's the person of Abiodun or Jedeji. Good to have you with us this morning. Good morning. So we're talking about the 2023 elections and the federal government summoning the Finnish ambassador over Simon Ekpa's threat to stop the polls in the southeast, insisting that the southeast should not come out to vote. There is a seat at home, and it's from a breakout faction of the IPOB, the outlawed IPOB. Yes, it's an outlawed organization. Now, this outlawed organization have also come out to say that, look, elections will hold. There is no seat at home. People should come out and vote for the candidates of their choice. Now, the issue with Simon Ekpa is he's not in Nigeria.
He's in Finland.
He's in Finland. And he holds dual citizenship of both Nigeria and Finland. Now, arresting him is an issue because he's over there. There are laws protecting him
as
over
a citizen.
there. Yes, there are laws. So what do you think about this whole scenario that we're having to deal with now?
You see, in some country, I think they were not doing the right thing when they were allowing another citizen to become their citizen. When they are giving out a citizenship certificate or whatever by birth or no matter how it is. Because you look at all these agitators, 75% of them
Are not in Nigeria.
are not in Nigeria.
Or not even in the countries where they are agitating for things.
freedom or for anything. See, they are just like a thorn on the side of a nation. Simon Akpan, to me, Finland should have just called him to order. Are you still a Nigerian or a Finnish? Which one do you want to go with? If you want to be in Nigeria, kindly move down to Nigeria and go and sort whatever issue you have with Nigeria. If you want to remain our citizen, you should not. To me, it's a blackmailer. It's blackmailing Finland as a nation.
Well, there has been the Finnish authorities wrote a letter to him. It was published yesterday, asking that he should reverse every instruction that he had given on social media. You know, another issue here is the use of social media. What is the agreement with some of these social media platforms like WhatsApp, like the other ones that
They were
that
not
we have?
well censored. That is the
That
truth.
are avenues for people to propagate crime or propagate terroristic activities. How do you think these organizations can help, these social media applications can help curb such propagations that threaten the peace of countries?
Coming to social media, the truth is, those that they are building that social media,
The social media applications.
yes, those that involve it, they didn't plan to censor it. They just want to move out from TV, from radio, so that you'll be able to express your feelings without fearing of anything, without anybody disturbing you. I could remember in United States of America, they invited Facebook guy, Mark.
Zuckerberg.
So the question was, look, can you just disclose the hotel you were lodged to us? He said, no, you can't disclose it.
Because that's private information.
But you can go on Facebook and disclose people's privacy. He couldn't answer that question. He was looking. See, the problem is we should just go back and go and start censoring whatever that is coming out on social media.
Now, there's another part to this whole incident. There is a part where there are insinuations in some quarters that Simon Ekpa has collected some millions of naira from a political presidential candidate to ensure that there is chaos in the southeast.
So that
because
the
when there is
election will hold
chaos,
there.
when there is chaos, people will be too afraid to come out to vote, even if you tell them, okay, come out and vote. But they've seen chaotic events going on, they will not want to come out to vote. That is, what do you have to say to this?
To be honest with you, I won't say yes, neither will I say
So do you think it's
no.
possible?
It's possible. But you and I, we are not there. We don't know the agreement. We don't know what is going on. All we know is Simon Ekpa and his people, they were just trying to break away from Nigeria. To me, they want to break away illegally.
I don't think it's a breakaway thing. I don't think it's a breakaway thing.
So what are they trying to do?
I will disagree with that. I don't think
What are they trying to do?
They're just trying to create problems. I don't think it's an intention to break away from Nigeria or establish a Biafra
But
nation.
if you ask them, they will tell you they want to go.
That is a problem. No. What IPOB is saying is they want a referendum. They want to be
What
heard.
belongs to us, you use it to take care of us, you give it
They
to
want
us,
a
we
referendum.
have a say.
They want to be heard. They want to say, okay, let us know that somebody from our place can also be at the helm of affairs of this country.
Are they not having people at the helm of affairs? Is
At the helm of affairs.
Yes. Is Emefiele not there? Is Emefiele, is he not from South? No. Rotimi Amici, Yes, is it not from the
But have
area?
when was the last time there was somebody from that region occupying the position of the presidency?
That is very simple. What you wanted is to be president of a nation. But the reason they were not able to get that mandate is because of IPOB and other factions wanting to break away from Nigeria. That is the truth.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Okay, that's my opinion.
That's your opinion, because they are saying something different.
That is exactly what they really wanted to do. They wanted to leave because they believe they've reaped enough to rule and to be governed by themselves. But the truth of the matter is, Nigeria, it's a big family. That if a particle of that family is being removed, believe me, the whole particle will be useless.
So together we stand.
And if anybody is trying to break away, it's just like you want to pull the whole nation down. Nigeria cannot survive without Igbo. Igbo cannot survive
All right, so now
without
let's talk about the events now. What do you think, in your opinion now, what do you think the relevant authorities can do to ensure that people will have faith in the fact that they can actually come out and vote, regardless of what Simon Ekpa or those that are in support of whatever he's doing are saying? What do you think that the INEC can do?
This is not, INEC cannot do anything.
Now, INEC has even gone ahead to blacklist some polling units.
That is the only thing they can do.
Which I don't think is right, because doing that would also affect those that will be voting for the Labour Party candidate. Because you can't tell me that in 240 polling units, nobody registered.
What about PDP?
What do you mean?
What about APC?
PDP?
What about NNPP? You said.
But we know where these areas are. We have these areas in Imo State. We have this area.
That doesn't mean they don't have Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba
now,
residing in that environment.
Yes, I agree. We have them residing in that environment. Okay. And they will also want to vote for the candidates of their
choices.
But we do know that a particular candidate, presidential candidate, is from that area, and that might be a stronghold for that particular
Do you know, for the past years, ruling party, I mean the incumbent president, they have been losing election
in their home.
Yes, especially FCT. You know
FCT is nobody's home, actually.
Oh, come on.
FCT is the Federal Capital Territory.
That is what I'm saying. It belongs to the federal power.
Okay.
And they were there, sitting there, and they were losing there. Does that mean anything? Does that say anything? Come on, anybody can win anywhere and anybody can lose anywhere. That is politics. To be candid with you, who a father is going to vote for, he may not disclose to his wife. So the only thing I would say is, go back to Simon Ekpa's issue. The only thing federal government can do to encourage people from that region to come out and vote in mass is just to ensure that they can see the security personnel on ground more than enough that we convince them that, okay, if we go out, these people will protect us. Don't forget, this is not the first time they will say sit at home, and it works. It worked the first time. This is the second time, because
people are tired of the sit at home.
The people that refused to sit at home, then many of them were wasted. What did federal government do about that?
Now, to show you that the people
they
are
do
tired,
nothing.
To show you that the people are tired of the sit at home order, we just discussed the fact that earlier in the week, a purported, an alleged enforcer of Simon Ekpa's sit at home order was burnt alive.
Of course.
Now, doesn't that show that, look, the people are beginning to rise up to say, look, this needs to stop. We cannot continue to take instruction from someone.
People are ready to go out. They were tired of sit at home because it's affecting their economy, it's affecting their businesses, it's affecting their way of life. But individual cannot do this thing without the backup of federal government. They need government to help them. The question is government ready to listen? If they were listening, did they do anything? Federal government need to come out now to discuss with another nation, or because election is near and is going to affect election. If not for election, federal government will not say anything. They will not summon anybody. They will not have a meeting with Finnish embassy.
No, is that to say that the federal government is complicit?
They are just trying to help themselves, not to help the people. That is the truth. If election is cancelled, believe me, nothing on Simon Ekpa will be seen.
The fact of the matter is, Simon Ekpa has been doing this for a long time. He's been putting out videos.
So what happened now? Time. So why is federal government waking
Because
up?
he's threatening the peace of the country.
The peace of the country, or the result of the election federal government are expecting?
Okay.
No. That is it.
Of course, if the results of the election is threatened, then the peace of the country is threatened as well.
Let me tell you, the peace of the country is not what federal governments are running after. They were running after the result, to remain in power, to make sure that their target from South is achieved. That is it. This matter is very clear. You don't need to be hiding behind a finger. Federal government needed a result from South. And the only way to get the result is to stop Simon from doing whatever he is doing, to put the fear
of voting in the minds of the people.
That is it. Now the only thing federal government can do is to just communicate with the
Finnish authorities.
Please, this boy is disturbing us. We have an agenda. We can't achieve our agenda with this guy saying whatever he's saying, continue doing what he is doing. So it will affect our results. Help us tame him so that we can achieve our results. Let me tell you, after the election, if Simon wanted to bomb the whole South, federal government will keep quiet.
That's a heavy one against the federal government.
No. It's not about everyone. It's about what they have been doing. That is just it. They are not saying anything. They keep quiet. That is what is making these IPOB guys. That these people, are they not listening to us, or they just choose to ignore us?
But it's funny when you say the federal government wants the election to hold because of what they stand to gain.
Yes.
It's funny.
I will continue to say it. Because government intents is not being known since. And this thing is not...
The fact of the matter
this thing just started yesterday.
The fact of the
matter. Is it something that started last week?
No.
Last month? Last year?
No.
2 years ago?
The fact of the matter.
3 years ago?
Absolutely.
Why now?
But the fact of the matter still remains. Of course, electioneering has to do with bringing on a new leadership in the country. And if that is prevented, then there will be a problem. That is a threat to the unity of the nation. So why now?
Federal government, are they protecting the unity of this country? No, that is the question. If federal government, if they were protecting, if government is protecting, but I did say the unity of this country, believe me, we will not be where we are today.
All right, hold our thoughts, please. I did say at the beginning that there are insinuations in some quarters that that some political parties are financing Simon Ekpa to ensure that elections doesn't hold in that area. So if the federal government is saying, let us nip him in the bud and elections to hold, is that not encouraging the unity of the nation?
Do you believe that a political party will register a candidate and they won't want election to hold?
If you know that if another candidate in an opposition party has stronger hold in a particular place, you may not want
there will always be a stronger hold. There will always be populations. There will always be a front line. And there will always be a frontiers. See, this thing is simple. For instance, federal universities, state universities, all of them, the candidates they wanted to admit, they must all sit for JAMB. Because people are demanding for this federal university, people are demanding for this, so the state university, they don't want the JAMB to hold. Is that possible?
That's a different thing.
No. I'm just...
That's an absolutely different
thing. I'm just asking. Just let's look it from that aspect. Let's just look at it from that aspect. This thing is simple. Everybody. My mother's proverb, let me just give you the adage. My mother would say, even a fool, if you give a fool a hoe, it will not use the hoe to cultivate to your side. It will try to bring the weed back to his side. It's simple. Federal government, they were just playing game. And Nigerians, we are not ready for the game. We want to fight. We want the election to hold. Whatever it takes, let federal government go ahead and do it. If they wanted to bring Simon home, let them bring him home.
Well, the Finnish authorities cannot just hand him over like that because he has rights as well.
Did anybody handed over Kanu to Nigeria? Chief Sunday Igboho, did anybody handed him over to Nigeria? Forget. If federal government wanted to do something, they know how to do it. If they don't want to do something, they know how to look aside and forget it. This matter of Simon Ekpa, they have something to gain. They stand to gain something. If they stand to gain nothing, they will ignore the guy. That is the truth.
He has been ignored for quite a long time.
So why giving him attention now? Because they want to gain something.
All right, so, okay. All right, then. So we'll take a break now. I must say a big thank you to you, Abiodun Ojedeji, journalist, in-house political analyst. Thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate your regular presence on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break. When we come back, VOP This Morning will continue.
Hello and welcome to the Vop This Morning Sports Ride with Ijo Makizito. A whole lot has just happened in the course of the week, and a whole lot happened just yesterday. A very important you need to know. I don't know how it feels right now, but I just let you know 81,000 fans, 81,365 fans capacity right there at Iduna Park was just so celebrating yesterday as Chelsea lost away from home to the Borussia Dortmund. I must say, Terzic, the manager, the Croatian guy, has been so amazing. But I just feel like I'm very pacey. I feel like I can be very fast, like one man, Karim, that guy Adeyemi, very wonderful scorer. The guy, I just will talk more about that guy because I haven't made the move from Salzburg, currently playing for Borussia Dortmund. I would say it's a very perfect match, very perfect, wonderful replacement for Erling Haaland. Even though we understand it's not a traditional number 9, but right now the question remains this: what's going to happen to Chelsea? I don't know. I don't know what Todd is actually thinking at the moment right now, because Chelsea is in a mess. Chelsea is in the shambles. Chelsea is in very, I don't know the better what to say right now. The question is, what happens next? A whole lot of money have been spent. We saw the way this guy talked about Karim Adeyemi was just so pacey yesterday. What the counter-attack, and Borussia Dortmund won 1-0 right there at Signal Iduna Park right in Germany, and it was a very nice game to say. I just recommend that a very young team. I think the oldest guy in that team should be Rafael Correro. I think Correro, yeah, that's the Portuguese guy. He's just barely 29. But the rest of them, Sula is 27, Jude Bellingham is 19, Karim Adeyemi is 21. So looking at the way this guys played yesterday, the other guy, I can't recall his name at the moment, the Turkey guy was just so good. But for Chelsea, all the money being spent, another question right now should be asked: why is Mason Mount being dropped to the bench? So Chelsea right now, everything looks to be very bad for Chelsea. Not a good one for Chelsea at the moment. I don't know what Graham should be thinking about right now. I'm more like I have to do a line with Graham saying Graham needs to go to the nearest cyber cafe to go check out the sport house, because Chelsea is in a mess. I just tell you the truth. So yesterday we saw great football right there at Signal Iduna Park, where Borussia Dortmund won 1-0 to Chelsea, and the goal came from the guy who is born to a Nigerian father and then a Cameroonian mother, a German mother. His name is Karim Adeyemi, and he said, when asked questions, said, how do you know how to make those moves? Are you the fastest guy in Germany? He said, I'm not the fastest guy, but there are a whole lot of people who can do what I do. But I have the genetic. I mean, it's got from the DNA from my dad. And he said he eats fufu. Like we know in Nigeria, we say, come on, fufu, shena fufu, they call him fufu, yeah. But he said he eats fufu, and that gives him that very much edge to be very pacey and very strong. So his name is Karim Adeyemi. Chelsea needs to go back to London to see how they have to put things right. I don't know if Graham Potter will still be the manager, but that's for our third body to say. So if you're a Chelsea fan out there, I'm so sorry for the loss yesterday. Okay, after that very game, we saw another wonderful game in the UEFA Champions League where Premier League side talk about Benfica won away from home to Club Brugge, and the guy who scored was João Mario with a penalty shootout. And after that, we saw a good goal from Neres, the Brazilian guy who's just 25. And right now, the Portuguese side are having the edge to go back to Portugal to make things to be in line. But yesterday was just a whole lot of football time, talking about football. Everything happened so much yesterday that when you talk about the Champions League, you also will reckon back to the English Premier League. While this was happening, I think the London clubs, to say, I think the better word, London, Chelsea, a London club, Arsenal, a London club yesterday, lost. So let's go away from the Champions League talk now. The results already, the first one we saw, Paris Saint-Germain, losing at home to the Bavarians, talking about Bayern Munich, and after that, we saw another great football, But yesterday, the deed has been done. So for Chelsea, I'm so sorry about that, but for Benfica, congratulations, I should say. But away from the UEFA Champions League talk, let's talk about the English Premier League. What happened yesterday? The master and the boy. The master and the boy played Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta. I don't know what I'll say right now, but we used to say, catch me if you can. That used to be the song on my mouth, the song on my lips regularly, but I feel the story's changed now. City currently on top of the log. We know Arsenal's got one more match to play, an outstanding game, but it's not really a yardstick to say they can catch City now, because I just would say the mentality of the citizen guys, the men from the city, the Manchester City Pep Guardiola team has been so astonishing, stunning, better word, incredible. I think I just a better word to say. So Pep Guardiola yesterday came out with a very energy, very wonderful game. We know how he reached the game literally well. He understands this game very well. And they won yesterday, 3-1. Erling Haaland scoring the last goal. But each time City want to play, and I say, okay, Gundogan, the man who's from Germany, I just would say it's a done deal. But what happened for Arsenal yesterday? A whole lot of mistakes. We can't go on. I'm not an Arsenal fan to say, but Arsenal cannot go on this way if they don't change something. Some of the players are already tired. The likes of Gabriel Martinelli, fatigue is possibly really getting to hold on to this guy. But You saw Leandro Trossard when he came. First of all, let's talk about the first goal. How did it come about? The Japanese guy, Takahiro Tomiyasu, missing out. A very crucial one. You don't do that in a football game. I'm not going to be doing deep analysis about the very much game, but I just have to talk about it. Takahiro Tomiyasu for me yesterday was not good on his A game. He wasn't at his A game, in quote to say. He should have, set the ball off to the goal, to the throwing better word. But we saw what he did yesterday. He gave the space, he gave the time, he gave the chance, and he had to send the ball to the goalkeeper. He wanted to send the ball to the goalkeeper. It didn't really go clear well. Then Kevin De Bruyne, the Belgian guy, took advantage, and that was the first goal. That was a mistake. At some point, it felt like Arsenal could come back. And of course, they did. Bukayo Saka with a penalty and was so very much good. He converted a well-placed penalty. There was no Thomas Partey in the middle of the park, but Arsenal grew very strong in the first half. But when it came to the second half, it felt like this is where the masters come and play. Pep Guardiola, looking at the table now, you could see City on top of the log. And we saw the goal from, the goal from Jack Grealish. Wasn't space. Where was Takahiro Tomiyasu? We couldn't find him anywhere. And, that gave them the edge. Gundogan got the ball. He had to send the ball for the Englishman, a £100 million move guy from Aston Villa. And, of course, he had to find the back of the net. And that was it. He got 2-1. And later on, we saw that mistake again, from Gabriel. And then, I don't know, just silly mistakes up and down. And, but Ilkay Gundogan was the man of the match for me, if I should say. And Kevin De Bruyne, astonishing, incredible player. He set the ball out, and Erling Haaland got to score. So I'll just let you know, this is a very quick one. You need to know this fact. Arsenal have lost their last 11 games against Pep Guardiola. And it's a very bad one for the North London side. I talk about Arsenal right now as I talk to you. They need to go and get things right. The way the table is now, it doesn't feel very friendly much for Arsenal. But away from football, on the show, quick one, let's get talk about Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton in the news. He's got to say something. He's the world record champion. If you talk about Formula 1, you should reference Lewis Hamilton. You know how good he can actually be. He have come up to say he's not going to shut up. He's not going to stop talking. He just have to keep doing what you know how to do well. He said he's not going to stop talking about the off-season. We know how Dominic Calais, the president of Formula 1, talk about FIA. We know how it is. They said, not me saying now, the world of Formula 1 saying, if you're in the off-season, you don't get involved in the political talks. But Lewis Hamilton has come to say, I doubt this can actually happen. I know I'm a brand. I know the social media is a very vital one, very big one in the 24th century. And I just would keep using my brand, using myself to fight for human right, for justice, and no to racism, like you always say. We know him a couple of times being abused in the world of Formula 1, the racial, whatever, the racial abuse and the rest of that, but we're not going to go into details about that very much now. So it's just been so much fun in the world of sport. And also another man in the world of tennis I talked about Serena Williams yesterday on the show, and she's still saying that today again, saying she just cannot imagine herself, staying off the tennis court. Yeah, this is what I've done all my life, and this is what I live for. So Serena Williams feels it's very hard to go off. I just feel the same will happen to every other legendary in the world of tennis, the likes of Novak Djokovic, the Serbian guy, or Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. We know these guys, how good they can actually be. But if you are living what you do for life, Serena Williams, Jamaica said, I can still do other things, but tennis is all in my head. It's just been so much to talk about, but don't forget today, a very wonderful game come back again. The Europa League will be back again to your TV screen. Don't miss out, but the star match for today will be Barcelona playing against Manchester United. That's a very much game you just cannot afford to miss. Get it glued to your TV. I just watched that very game. Xavi Hernandez playing against Eric Ten Hag. It's going to be like a Spanish man against a Dutch man, but it's going to be very well with the full game. I just pray there's no controversies and the rest of the VAR and the rest of that. But that's all I've got for you on the VOP this morning on the Sport Ride. My name is Ijo Makizito. I'll be here again tomorrow to give you updates about what happened yesterday, today, and I'll keep giving you forevermore. I am the voice of the mic. My name is Kizzy K. Bye-bye for now.
All right, welcome back. It's still VOP this morning, Voice of the People, and I hope you enjoyed the sports bit. It's interesting to hear that somebody was eating fufu and that gave him the energy, or fufu, as they said, and that gave him the energy. What I understand is when we eat fufu or fufu, a lot of people just get weak and sleep off, but that's not the case. Okay. Let's go on to some other segment of the show. Let's look at the Lagos state government has said that they will sanction anyone caught rejecting the old notes. That it's a contravention of the Supreme Court rule, and if they are caught, you will face the music or face the wrath of the law. My question now is, how are you going to catch POS operators and people rejecting the old notes, or business people rejecting the old notes? How do you want to do that? Do you have the manpower to go into communities and catch people? I don't know. I don't see that happening. I think that's just a threat. Well, anyway, another thing the government is doing is saying that the 50% decrease in all state-owned transportation system will stay. It will continue. And also the government is providing food to the vulnerable, which is also commendable. Esther?
Okay, yeah, so true. That, I think for Lagosians, that's a good one, and we should be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes,
we
should be happy.
We should be happy for that. We have a governor that understands the current situation, and he's trying to look for a
If
means
it's not a political move.
He's trying to look for to ameliorate the current, challenges that we are experiencing at the moment. Also, another scenario that occurred yesterday, where basically in Delta State, where we saw some of the ATM machines that were burned, campaign billboards too were also brought down. There was also a protest at Lagos Ibadan Expressway yesterday. In fact, it impeded vehicular movement. Travelers were stranded for about 7 hours or over 7 hours. I mean, I was like, wow. Again, because of the cash crunch situation, and it created confusion. I mean, people were wondering, when will the government listen to us? Why would they put us through this kind of unnecessary hardship? Already we're experiencing tension, in the communities, in the nation for now. Well, let's not even talk about most of the, will I say, hotspots in terms of provocative security situations Nigerians have been experiencing, and then this kind of scenario being implemented on Nigerians that are strained. So yes, that was where the protest came from yesterday. Also in Benin City too, we saw that kind of breakdown of law and order, and security officials, that is the police, had to come in. Unfortunately, persons died. A couple of persons also got injured just because they wanted to tender their old notes and get new notes. So these were the pockets of situations that took place across some parts of the nation yesterday. And I must tell you that if you reside in most of those areas, apply caution, be careful, keep yourself alert, and put your ears on the ground so you do not get yourself in any conflicting situation that may put you in jeopardy, either you or any member of your family in jeopardy.
All right, we want peace. We want peace. That's
True.
basically what we're saying. As you rightly said, to united we stand, divided we fall. If anyone is perpetrating anything other than peace, then you're breaking the law.
True.
The truth of the matter is, if you're a lawbreaker, then you will have to face the music at some point. Well, another story that we should look at: a lawbreaker, one who abused the naira and was arrested. The actress,
Yes.
Oluwadarasimi, who sprayed naira at a party. I think all she sprayed at the party was put together to be 100,000 naira.
But they were like new mints.
Yes, the 1,000 naira new notes.
Yes.
Now she was arrested, and now she's been granted bail to the sum of 5 million naira.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, you sprayed 100,000, and now you have to pay 5 million as bail and a shorty in like sum.
Wow.
That's a good deterrent, actually. I mean, people now know that you won't do that again.
True.
All right. So let's be aware that spraying the naira at parties, stepping on them, because when you spray them, they fall to the ground, and people step on them. Stepping on them is also a crime. Now, added to that is money bouquets. We can't say this enough. Money bouquets is also a crime. So if you do it and you post it on social media, then they're going to come for you. And when they do come for you, what you'll be paying will be a lot more than you spent showing off. So let's respect the naira. Let's respect ourselves and avoid getting into trouble.
True. Moses said something earlier. He said just now concerning the money bouquet. Moses, I'll appreciate a money bouquet.
Well, in secret.
In secret.
In secret. And then you would have to post it on social media.
But what I'll do is, once it just arrives, I'll just carry it, enter my cupboard, remove all the money, count it neatly, put it in my wallet. Very simple. There's no need to shout. We need this new mix now.
You're just an Igbo girl.
Everybody,
That's the Igbo in you.
everybody wants money now. At this
know,
moment,
right?
we need the money.
Of
So it's
course.
not about anything. Everyone is going through this scenario right now.
It's crazy.
Okay, so another scenario that occurred was, I think, around Ikorodu,
Okay.
where a policeman, I think, had stabbed a soldier. And then the fallout of that scenario was where the police station was burnt. You remember earlier, in the program when we started off, where you talked about the fact that when these kind of occurrences come up, the people who feel the fallout, or get to feel the effects of such a circumstance are the innocent people who reside along those areas or those communities, and they're just going about their businesses, and all of a sudden, when this mayhem breaks out, they get to feel the brunt. But security agencies, aren't they meant to work in synergy? You have the police, the Air Force, the military, and all of that. They're all meant to work in synergy.
They are meant to work in synergy, but we have a case. We have a history of one not in agreement with the other. Police and the army, they're always in disagreement. If one disrespects the other, there's always a reprisal. And it's really pathetic. It's really pathetic. What happened in Ogijo is troubling. Now, the police PPRO in Lagos, Benjamin Hudhudei, has come out to say that, look, it's not Lagos, it's Ogun State. And, he just, clarified that it's Ogijo, border town to Ogun State. But the issue here is this. When a policeman shot at a soldier and killed him, we talk about jungle justice. We frown against jungle justice. The law enforcement agents frown against jungle justice. They say, look, don't engage in jungle justice. But then we see the same law enforcement agents
Exactly. This was a
engaging
reprisal.
in jungle justice. Yes.
This was a reprisal.
So reprisal attacks happened. And it happens every time. If a soldier or an army personnel feels disrespected by the police, they would usually, or by a community, they would usually revisit that community in their numbers and make sure that the people there pay for the disrespect. I think they should be called. They should be called and spoken to. If they are telling people to avoid jungle justice, they should know that this is also jungle justice. Not taking laws into your hands is jungle justice.
It's just like painting a picture. For example, Moses, you are drinking a hot cup of tea. It's very hot.
Okay.
And then you take a sip, and then it burns your upper palate.
Okay.
What's the next thing you do to quell that hurt? Do you take more hot water, or do you take more hot tea?
I will just slow down a bit,
or maybe you
and
look
then
for
continue taking
ordinary
the tea.
water, something cold to take.
No, I wouldn't take
You
ordinary
wouldn't take
water.
ordinary water.
No.
Okay, but at
because
least
it's going to be distasteful in my mouth.
Fine. That's what you would do. For some people, once it hurts them, to try to look for something that would kind of dissipate the effect that hot water or hot tea has done.
I actually like the hotness.
Yeah, but what if it burns your upper palate?
I kind of like it.
You kind of like it. You're queer.
I'm queer, I know, right?
So now, what I'm trying to say is this. Now that this fallout has happened, disciplinary measures would have been carried out against the police officer who shot the soldier, because of course they have their proceedings for disciplining any of their workers or officers who get involved in something that is punishable. But now that a reprisal has been done by the soldiers, how would the Nigerian police and the Nigerian military give punishable, what do you call something punitive for them to learn from what they have done? Exactly how? Because two wrongs don't make it right. This is a scenario where two wrongs
make it right.
don't make it right. Now, on VOP this morning, like I told you, you can always share with us your experiences via WhatsApp. All right, our numbers will be on the bottom side of our screen, so you can actually send your messages. You can send your videos detailing to us what is going on within your community. We'd like to hear from you. VOP this morning, it's not about us right here in the studio. It's about you.
It's about you.
Exactly. So
I'd
you
like
can
it to
send
be part of everything that we do right here.
precisely. it's an opportunity where we get to talk about the reports that you send to us, and we can actually see how we can provide solutions or bring it to light where there's a conversation about it, and something that can give us a resolve or give that particular situation a resolve, you know, is being brought to light. That's what we do right here on VOP This Morning, aside trying to update you on current happenings across the country.
And also to know that we want to be your reference point to everything that concerns the populace. We want to be your go-to news media. Well, it's time for us to go.
Exactly, Moses.
Time for us to go.
It's time for us to go. Moses and his voice. It's time for us to go. It's time for us to go.
You look really hot, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Moses. Courtesy you. Remember my Valentine gift?
Oh, yes. Oh, I feel so touched.
Oh, really? See? Okay. So that's it on VP this morning. Honestly, it's quite a good moment here, having to put out everything for you. It's what we'll continue to do every morning, all right, from 7 till, you know, almost 9 o'clock right here on VP Studios. We have more interesting programs for you, so remember to stay tuned.
All right, stay tuned. But for now, we're saying bye-bye. My name is Moses Humphrey.
And my name is Esther Nwachukwu.
Bye for now.